Bit of a staggered week over in the Championship this week with games starting on Tuesday and they'll be ending on the weekend. Who, of course, will take full advantage in a hectic week out in the Championship. We're going to take a little look next. That's right, folks, back once again with another prediction week. Today we're taking a look at 8 games in the Championship as we, of course, we straddle a chaotic start to February with, of course, Championship, FA Cup games, all that kind of stuff taking place this coming weekend. What am I talking about? Well, I'll tell you in a second. If you knew where you've been, hit the old subscribe, your one-stop shop for Blackburn Rovers, Championship football, world football. We're going to all hear under one rooski. Some clubs are playing twice this week, where others taking it easy with their feet up. Who am I talking about? Well, I'll tell you in a second. Big shout out to the members. Big shout out to the Patreons. You know who you are. But what we're going to do now, though, is revisit those last round of games, which, of course, did take place this past weekend. And I look forward to this weekend's drama, which starts this coming Tuesday. Sit tight, hold on. Here we go. Alrighty, folks, let's turn the clock back to this past weekend. And what a glorious weekend it was as it all started at Ewood Park on Friday. 2-1 winners, Rovers coming out top in that Northwest Crunch clash against Nobbers. Meanwhile, Oxford United kept their run going under Gary Rowett, 1-1 in the end. I went with a 2-0 win. Meanwhile, Plymouth, I went with a point on that one, but they did come out top with all 3. Dubious penalty shout. Maybe. Meanwhile, Norwich with a 1-0 away win against Watford, who cleverly is on borrowed time, I think, out there. Meanwhile, Sheffield Utd with a 1-0 win over Derby. I went with a 2-0 win. Stoke with a 2-1 win over Hull City. I went the other way. Leeds put 7. I said 7 past Cardiff. I said 3-0 win. Millwall with a 2-1 win over QPR. I went with a 1-0 win. Portsmouth with a 0-0 draw against Burnley. I went with a 1-0 win. So close. Wednesday with a draw against Luton Town. I went with the home win as well on that one. And then Coventry with a 2-0 away win against Swansea. I went with the draw. That's the Matt Grimes derby. And then, of course, I am coming at you right here, right now, ahead of the Borough Sunderland game, which is, of course, Monday night. That should be a good game on transfer deadline day. Wow, wow, wee, wow. But the table over in the Championship, as I call it, Leeds United run away with it, 63 points, of course, with Sheffield United in second with 61. Then, of course, Burnley, Sunderland, Blackburn, and then West Brom. Let's end the season now, guys. But anybody from, where are we looking at, 10th, could be in the playoffs this coming week if they're playing games. Of course, it is a bit of a weird one this time around in the Championship. Going down, it is Plymouth, it is Luton, it is Derby, but it's tighter than you'd think. Goodness gracious me. Look how tight it is with the likes of Portsmouth. I thought they were clear. Hull just can't get away from it. Derby, Luton, and they're spending cash as well. That's the situation in the table. What about, of course, the prediction league? Well, I'm not going to give you an update now because there is a game still to be played and there's also a staggered week this week, which is just madness. So I'll bring you back up to date with that when we come back around for a full fixture list, which will be in a week or so's time. But anyway, these are the games, just 8 of them, this coming week. Now, they're again starting this coming Tuesday, and they're going to go all the way through to Sunday, the February the 9th. So we're going to start with we're not going to do the Middlesbrough Sunderland one. We talked about that already in a previous video. We're going to start with Burnley, Oxford at Turdmore. So let's get in the deep end and have a look at it. Scott Parker's boys are third in the table, 58 points for the campaign now, looking to spend some cash. They've actually drawn 3, though, in the last 4. Up against Oxford under Gary Rowett, 58% form. They're unbeaten in the last 5. They've drawn 3 of the last 5. Could smell like a draw here, guys. But Gary Rowett is 16th in the table with his Oxford side, 37 points for the campaign. Up against Burnley, who are 58 points and are in the top 3. Played each other just the once since 2024, and it was a draw. That was at the Kazam back in September 2024. 0-0 it was. Who'd have thought that? Meanwhile, Burnley on the back of successive 0-0s. In fact, they've got 3 0-0s out of the last 4. They haven't conceded a goal, I believe, in the last 4 games in all competitions and all venues. Meanwhile, Oxford on the back of that successive draws themselves against Stoke and Bristol City. But they are unbeaten in a good run since the FA Cup loss to Exeter. Now, speaking of FA Cup, are they both in it? No, I think Burnley are in it. They're going to take on Southampton, but that's after this game. Looking at the odds, Burnley are the favoured for this one. Oxford are the underdogs. I'm going to go with another clean sheet. Burnley winning this one 2-0 to close the gap to the top 2. Let's go to London now, and it is QPR. It is Blackburn coming at you at Loftus Road. Martin Kufientis' boys, 14th for the table, 38 points for the campaign. Back-to-back defeats. They're rocking 50% form for them right now. Up against Rovers under John Eustace, they are 5th, 45 points for the campaign. 3 wins, 3 defeats in the last 6. They're also rocking a 50% form. Now, they played each other 34 times since 1993. 6 wins QPR, 20 wins for Rovers, 8 draws between the two sides. Now, the last time they played at Loftus Road, Rovers coming out on top with a 4-0 win. Rovers winning 5 of the last 6. We did lose against Coventry's QPR last time around. Not last time around, but last season. Rovers on the back of that 2-1 win over Preston. QPR losing back-to-back to Wednesday and Millwall. So interesting sort of form for both sides coming into this one. The Rovers are underdogs here. QPR favourite. It is at London. It is one of those, guys. It is one of those. It's a coin flip of a game. I'm not saying Rovers should win. Rovers can win this one, but so could QPR. It could be one of those. So I'm sitting on the fence on this one, and I'd gladly take a point right here, right now, because Coventry's boys are decent, and on their day, I think they can beat anybody. But hopefully we can get something out of it to continue a recent revival, perhaps. Let's go to the RCA. It's Coventry, it's Leeds. What a spectacular game this is. Of course, Coventry, Frank Lampard, 5 wins on the spin. Up against Leeds, Daniel Farke, unbeaten in at least the last 6. They've won 4 of the last 5. 83% form for them, 83% form for Coventry. And they played each other 29 times since 1993. 6 wins Coventry, 15 wins Leeds. 8 draws between the two sides. Coventry going for it now. 11 for the table, 41 points for the season. Up against Leeds, who are top, 63 points for the campaign. Now, they played last time around at this venue. It was a 2-1 win for Coventry. In fact, the last 2 at this venue have ended up with Coventry victories. Goodness gracious me. Leeds, though, did beat Coventry earlier in the season, back in September. 3-0 win as it was at Ellen Road. Coventry on the back of that 2-0 win on the road against Swansea. Leeds putting 7 past Cardiff, and they've got at least 5 clean sheets on the spin heading into this in all competitions. The bookies, though, still back Leeds on this one. Coventry underdogs, but it could be a closer game than you would imagine. I'm going with a 2-1 win for Leeds, but it might be a draw. I think Coventry can get something out. Basically, I think Leeds will not lose this game. How about that? 2-1 winners at the RCA. Meanwhile, Sunderland up against Watford now. Sunderland are on the outside looking in. They are 4th at the moment. 67% form for them right now. 55 points for the campaign. Just 1 win in the last 4. Trying to spend some cash as well. Up against Watford, who at the top level, excuse me, they're down to 12th, 41 points for the campaign, just 1 win in the last 6. They played each other 24 times since 1993, 9 wins Sunderland, 7 wins Watford, 8 draws between the two sides. Now, the last time they played at Sunderland, it was a 2-0 win for the Mackems back in October 2023. Now, they already played each other this season at Vicarage Road. It was a 2-1 win for Watford back in September. Watford losing to Norwich most recently. The last victory was a 2-0 away win against Derby. Sunderland, though, picking up a draw against Plymouth, but they're taking on Borough on Monday, so a busy old couple of days. This game takes place on Saturday, Saturday the 8th. I was going to say, that game is coming fast. Sunderland are massive favourites on this one. Watford the underdogs. I think, if he's not gone already, he'll be gone now. 2-0 winners. Sunderland taking it over Watford, who are free-falling at the moment. Meanwhile, it's West Bromwich Albion up against Sheffield Wednesday. What a game this is going to be also on Saturday, the 8th of Feb. West Brom under Tony Mowbray, just 1 win the last 6. They are 6th, 44 points for the campaign. Up against Wednesday under Danny Roll, 10th in the table, 42 points for the season, just 1 win in the last 6 as well. Both sides on a bit of a weird sort of form right now, not really getting the wins in. But they played each other 17 times since the year 2000. 7 wins for the Baggies, 5 wins for the Wednesday, or the Owls. 5 draws between the two sides. Last time around at the Hawthorns, it was a 1-0 win for West Brom back in October 2023. They played this season at Hillsborough. It was a 3-2 win for Wednesday back in September. The Baggies on the back of that 2-1 loss to Plymouth. Wednesday could only draw with Luton at Hillsborough the other day. Bookies find it very tight, but they're going to go with West Brom, as do I. I'm going to go with 3-1 win. Mowbray's boys taking the points and moving the chains. The Canaries up against Derby at Carrow Road. Again, a manager on the brink. Paul Warne, at least, 6 defeats on the spin, might be more than that. Up against Carrow Road's Norwich and Jonas Torrett, back-to-back wins. They are 8th, and they are also within striking distance of those playoffs. They played 25 times since 1996, 10 wins apiece and 5 draws. Last time around at Carrow Road, it was a 1-0 win for Derby. The last 4 of these games in this championship, in the league, have ended up with results for the away side. When I say results, I mean wins. The away side has won last 4 in these games. In fact, the home side has not won this game since Norwich beat Derby back in January 2017. That's since the home side. Goodness gracious me. So the away side is favoured, but this, of course, could be where the streak comes to an end. Norwich on the back of that 1-0 win over Watford on the road. Derby losing to Sheffield United again. He's on the brink, isn't he? He could be sacked this week or next. I don't even know. And they're massively out-fancied on this one. Norwich, of course, should win this game at home. Of course, break that hoodoo. 2-0 winners. Norwich taking the points and closing in on the top 6. The Blades up against Portsmouth, coming at Bramall Lane. Chris Wilder's boys. He's just signed a new contract, I think, Wilder. Second in the table, 61 points for the campaign. 4 wins on the last 6 up against Portsmouth. John Massinho without a win in the last 3. Now, they played each other 25 times since 1994. 12 wins Sheffield United, 7 wins Portsmouth, 6 draws between the two sides. Coming at you right here, right now. Last time around at this venue was a 1-0 win for Sheffield United back in October 2012. That was in League One. The reverse fixture at Fratton Park this season was a 0-0 draw. Portsmouth have only lost once of the last 4 against Sheffield United, but this is a different age since that era. The Blades on the back of that 1-0 away win against Derby. Portsmouth with a 0-0 respectable draw against Burnley, but make it back-to-back games now without scoring a goal. The odds for this one, Sheffield United should win this game. The bookies backing them overwhelmingly so. I'm going with a 3-0 win as well. They've got goals. They might even add more goals to the team at the moment. So 3-0 winners. Portsmouth remain in trouble. Then finally we go, of course, Bristol City against Swansea at Ashton Gate. Coming to this Sunday, the 9th of Feb. Liam Manning's boys, 9th in the table, 42 points for the season without a defeat in the last 3. Just 1 win in the last 5. Up against Swansea, the Luke Williams. It's all gone to pot for them. 5 defeats on the spin. They're down to 17th with 34 points for the season. Have already peaked with a 1-1 draw. We'll talk about it in a minute. 26 times they've played since 2003. 10 wins Bristol City, 7 wins Swansea. There's been 9 draws between the two sides. The reverse fixture was in fact a 1-1 draw, but previously at this venue it was a 1-0 win for Bristol City back in March 2024. Bristol City on the back of a 1-1 draw. That was away to Oxford. Swansea with a 2-0 loss to Coventry in the Matt Grimes derby. Looking at this right here, right now, Bristol City are massively fancied. Swansea the underdogs. But I am sitting on the fence with a 1-1 draw here, guys. I think Swansea will get this, or get something in this one to stop the rot and maybe give Luke Williams a breath of fresh air for the moment. So 1-0 winners in my, a 1-1 draw, sorry, in my eyes. That's my take. Make sure you get your own picks in using the link for the Super Brew, and we'll be back again for a full fixture list when we return. But until then, subscribe, smash like, catch you later. Until then, we are done.